The snow fell in thick, silent waves over Toronto, turning the city into a blur of white and gray. Amira Hassan pressed her forehead against the icy bus window, her breath fogging the glass. Her fingers tightened around the folded Arabic-English dictionary in her lap, its pages dog-eared and scribbled with notes. "Hello. Where is the hospital? Thank you." Simple phrases she'd memorized during the long flight from Damascus, but now, faced with the reality of her new life, they felt as fragile as tissue paper. "Next stop, Dundas Square," the bus driver announced. Amira's heart lurched. This was her stop, the neighborhood where her cousin, Layla, lived. The cousin she hadn't seen in 10 years. The cousin who'd sponsored her and her son, Kareem, to come to Canada after the bombings destroyed their home. But Kareem wasn't with her. The ache of that truth hit Amira like a physical blow. Her 14-year-old son had been too ill to travel when her visa was approved, so she'd made the impossible choice to go ahead, promising to send for him as soon as she found work. Now, 6 weeks later, guilt gnawed at her every time she heard his voice on the phone, strained and hopeful. "Mama, when can I come?" The bus doors hissed open. Amira stood, adjusting her hijab and slinging her worn duffel bag over her shoulder. She stepped into the biting cold, her boots crunching on the snow. Around her, people hurried past in puffy coats, their laughter and conversation swirling in a language she barely understood. "I was a teacher in Syria," she reminded herself, blinking back tears. "I taught literature. I can learn this." Chapter 1: The First Words. Layla's apartment was small but warm, smelling of cardamom and the lentil soup simmering on the stove. "You'll start English classes next week," Layla said, handing Amira a flyer for the Maplewood Community Center. "They're free for newcomers. The teacher's name is Mr. Thompson." Amira stared at the words on the flyer, * beginner English, Tuesday/Thursday 10 a.m. * She nodded, though her stomach churned. In Syria, she'd been confident, articulate. Here, she felt like a child, fumbling to ask for directions to the bathroom. The first class was a disaster. Mr. Thompson, a silver-haired man with a booming voice, wrote verb to be on the whiteboard and launched into a lecture. Amira clutched her notebook, scrambling to translate his rapid English. The other students, a young Chinese woman, an elderly Ukrainian man, and a cheerful Brazilian named Paulo, seemed equally lost. "Amira, give us a sentence using I am," Mr. Thompson said suddenly. She froze. "I am tired," she whispered, flushing as the class chuckled. "Good. But louder next time," Mr. Thompson said, smiling. "English needs courage, eh?" After class, Paulo approached her. "Hey, you want to, practice?" he asked, miming a conversation. Amira hesitated, then nodded. They sat in the community center's cafeteria, pointing at objects and stammering, "Coffee. Window. Cold." Paulo's exaggerated gestures made her laugh for the first time in months. Chapter 2: The Grocery Store Incident. Weeks passed. Amira learned to introduce herself. Hello, my name is Amira. I am from Syria, count money, and read street signs. But outside the classroom, English felt like a wall. One evening, at the grocery store, she searched for cumin to make Kareem's favorite dish. The spices were alphabetized, and she panicked. Cumin. C. She grabbed a jar labeled cinnamon instead. No, that's wrong, a voice said behind her. Amira turned to see a tall woman with a kind face and a toddler in her cart. Cumin is here, the woman said, pointing. You were close. Thank you, Amira stammered. I'm Maggie, the woman said. Need help with anything else? Amira shook her head, but Maggie followed her through the aisles anyway, naming items in English: eggplant, rice, yogurt. By the checkout, Amira's cheeks hurt from smiling. You're doing great, Maggie said, waving goodbye. See you around. Amira walked home in the dark, repeating the new words. For the first time, English didn't feel like an enemy. Chapter 3: The Letter. One afternoon, Layla handed Amira an envelope. From the immigration office. It's about Kareem. Amira's hands shook as she read the letter. They needed more documents, proof of income, a rental agreement, to process Kareem's visa. If not submitted within 60 days, the application will be denied. How? Amira whispered. She worked part-time cleaning offices, but it wasn't enough. Layla's apartment was too small for another person. That night, Amira sat at the kitchen table, tears splashing onto the dictionary. Failure. Useless. Alone. The words pulsed in her mind. Then, she remembered Paulo's advice: when stuck, use small words. Small words are strong. She wiped her eyes and began writing. Chapter 4: The Speech. At the next English class, Mr. Thompson assigned a presentation. Talk about something important to you, he said. Amira's pulse raced. But she thought of Kareem and the letter and the courage English demanded. On Thursday, she stood before the class, her notes trembling in her hands. My name is Amira, she began slowly. I am from Syria. I have a son. His name is Kareem. He is smart. He loves football. And books. She swallowed. In Syria, I was teacher. Now, I clean. But I need better job. To bring Kareem here. Paulo nodded encouragingly. The Ukrainian man, Ivan, wiped his eyes. English is hard. But I learn. For Kareem. Her voice steadied. In Quran, Allah says, with hardship comes ease. I believe this. I must believe. The room burst into applause. Mr. Thompson grinned. Amira, that was excellent. After class, Maggie, the grocery store woman, appeared in the doorway. "I volunteer here sometimes," she said. "I couldn't help overhearing your speech. My friend owns a cafe downtown. She's hiring a part-time server. Interested?" Chapter 5: The New Dawn. The cafe job changed everything. Amira's coworkers taught her phrases like "What can I get you?" and "Have a nice day." Regular customers, charmed by her determination, patiently repeated orders. With each interaction, her confidence grew. Months later, when Kareem finally arrived at Pearson Airport, Amira greeted him in English, "Welcome to Canada, Habibi." He hugged her fiercely. "You sound like a local, Mama." That spring, Amira stood in the community center again, not as a student, but as a volunteer, helping newcomers fill out forms and practice English. "How did you learn so fast?" a shy Eritrean woman asked her. Amira smiled. "One word at a time." At Kareem's high school graduation, Amira watched him stride across the stage, his Honor Society sash gleaming. Afterward, he handed her a folded paper. "I wrote this for you," he said. It was an essay titled "My Hero," about a woman who crossed an ocean, armed with nothing but a dictionary and love, to build a new life in a new language. Amira hugged him, her tears soaking his gown. Around them, the crowd erupted into applause, a sound that needed no translation.